Growing old is kind of like watching the wheels on a car turn. Life rolls forward one circle at a time. When we're young, the inner wheels spin fast. We're full of energy, bursting with dreams, running wild and chasing the horizon. We take risks, explore the world, fall in love, fall out of love, build careers, maybe families. In middle age, those wheels start to slow just a bit. They move with more weight, more purpose. We carry responsibilities, children, jobs, mortgages, marriages. The load gets heavier, but we carry it because we must. And then in the later years, the wheels slow even more. But don't mistake that for stagnation.
No.
That slow turn means something different now. It means wisdom. It means stories. It means we've traveled far and gathered much. We're not just older, we're seasoned. Seasoned by life's storms and sunshine. Eventually, the time comes when we realize, hey, we're old. The hair's gone white. The back doesn't quite straighten like it used to. But, oh, the stories in our hearts? They grow thicker, deeper, richer with every passing day. Aging, my friends, is like the changing seasons. Each season carries its own charm, its own rhythm, its own kind of beauty. Spring blooms, summer shines, autumn glows, and winter holds a quiet strength. And here's the truth. None of us knows which will come first, tomorrow or the unexpected. Just the other day, my neighbor, George, was sitting across from me at the local park, sipping coffee and playing a game of chess. Today, his son called me and said, Dad passed away in his sleep last night. Heart attack.
Just like that.
Life is fragile, unpredictable. So now, more than ever, we must prepare for the days ahead. Not out of fear, but out of wisdom. If we don't at least think through how we want to spend our older years, especially if we end up living alone, we risk feeling lost, helpless, unmoored when that time actually comes. You might be thinking, well, I've lived most of my life with someone. What do I do if I'm the only one left? Waking up in the morning to a cold, empty side of the bed, cooking a meal, and realizing there's no one to ask, do you want your eggs scrambled or sunny side up? Watching TV and suddenly noticing no one's there to laugh with or debate about the ending. It all becomes a one-person show, a quiet, solitary performance in a house that once echoed with voices. But hear me out, I've got some real, heart-to-heart advice. All of this comes from what I've observed over the years, watching friends, neighbors, and community members navigate the very same path. You might want to save this and revisit it once in a while. 1. If your spouse passes, don't let grief consume you. When someone you've shared decades with dies, the pain is gut-wrenching. That's undeniable. But while grief is real, letting it define your remaining years is a tragedy within a tragedy. Take Susan, for example. When her husband of 47 years passed, she spent 3 months crying daily. She'd polish his photo frame like a ritual, place his picture at the dinner table every night, and even set a second plate, just as she always had. One day, her 6-year-old grandson asked innocently, Grandma, can Grandpa really eat the chicken you made if he's in heaven? That simple question struck her like a bolt. She realized she was holding on to her grief in a way that wasn't healing, but hurting. Our departed partners, if they loved us, wouldn't want us to fall apart. My friend Richard told me, just days before his wife died of cancer, that her last words to him were, Honey, don't cry all the time. Don't stop eating or living. I'll worry about you from up there if you do. Grief needs space, but it also needs boundaries. Studies from the American Association of Geriatric Psychology in 2022 showed that seniors who acknowledged their grief and processed it within the first year had a 78% emotional recovery rate. But those who allowed grief to linger endlessly, they had a 43% higher risk of depression. Prepare yourself when your spouse is sick. Like Martha did when her husband had terminal lung cancer. While she bathed him, fed him, held him, she was also preparing herself mentally and emotionally. Now, she's taking painting classes, singing in a local choir, and finally learning Italian at the community center. She misses him dearly, yes, but she's living well, as he would have wanted. 2. Don't rush to find another partner. The silence after spouse dies can be deafening. The mornings are quiet. The nights are lonelier. And it's tempting to think, maybe I need someone, anyone, to fill this gap. But slow down. Think clearly. A lot of people, like Joe from my church group, jumped into a new relationship too fast. He met a woman 10 years younger. She was sweet at first, but after 6 months, she'd cleaned out his $25,000 savings and was gone.
Just like that.
Vanished. At our age, love looks different. We don't flirt like we did in our 20s. We don't swoon over a smile. These days, we worry more about whether the person has a pacemaker, diabetes, or takes 8 pills every morning. Let's be real. At this stage, relationships are often more about convenience than connection. And trust? That's not so easy to build anymore. I know a couple in their 70s who remarried and spent more time fighting over whose grandchildren would inherit what than they did enjoying each other. Resentments grow quickly when there's no deep bond, and kids from both sides often complicate things. So, unless you find someone truly exceptional, and I mean truly, don't feel like you need a partner to validate your life. Take Linda, who lost her husband 5 years ago. Now she enjoys quiet mornings with a book and hot coffee, plays mahjong with her girlfriends on Thursdays, and sleeps diagonally in bed. I finally get to watch whatever I want on TV, she says. That's freedom, honey. 3. Don't move in with your children. Yes, your kids love you. But love has limits when life gets crowded. You might think I'll move in with my son or daughter, have some company, feel useful. But reality? Often it's not what you imagined. They have their own routines, their own partners, their own children. You become the third wheel in a life that was already full. Bob moved into his daughter's home after his wife died. He thought it'd be warm and cozy. But every morning, his granddaughter's cartoons were blaring by 6 a.m., and every evening the remote stayed with the grandkids.
Bob?
He just sat there, invisible. Once, he tried to cook his favorite stew. His son-in-law told him, "Dad, no offense, but this smells up the whole kitchen." It stung. You can't live freely in someone else's home. Want to sleep in? Forget it. Want to eat bland food? Nope, they love spice. Want quiet? Good luck with kids running around. You'll end up missing your own place more than ever. Like my neighbor Harold says, in my house, I can burp without saying, "Excuse me." In theirs, I gotta whisper when I cough. 4. Don't hand over your money too soon. One of the biggest mistakes I've seen older folks make? Giving away everything, especially to their kids, too early. It often happens during a hospital stay. You see others surrounded by their families, and you start wondering, maybe if I sign the house over, they'll visit more, maybe they'll take better care of me.
Wrong.
After Robert transferred his house deed to his son, the visits dropped off. From weekly brunches to silence for months. His heart broke more than once, but the damage was done. Truth is, we still need money in old age. Whether it's for a caregiver, assisted living, or emergency care, it all costs. And you can't depend on others to foot the bill. Keep control. Write a will.
Store it safely.
But don't give everything away just because you're lonely one day in the hospital. As my buddy Larry puts it, I keep my retirement checks and savings under my own name. If my kids are kind, wonderful. If they're not, well, I can still afford a nurse and a warm bed. 5. Travel often, even alone. Just because you're alone doesn't mean you can't explore. Can't figure out how to travel solo? Then join a seniors travel group. That's what I did last month. I took a tour with Golden Horizons Travel to the Grand Canyon. Everyone on the bus was over 65, most of us single, and let me tell you, we had the best time. We laughed, took selfies, danced under the stars near Sedona. Traveling gives you perspective, stories, new friends, and something to look forward to. I even met Tom, a retired math teacher from Chicago. We now play chess every Wednesday. Getting out into the world, seeing new places, smelling different air. It clears the mind, lifts the spirit, and reminds you, life's not over. Not even close. So, if you find yourself alone in your later years, remember this. It doesn't mean your best days are behind you. It means you get to choose how to live, on your own terms. Freedom.
Peace.
Quiet joy. You've earned it. Now live it. Every single Wednesday, rain or shine, my buddy Frank, whom I met on that river cruise in Georgia, shows up at my place around noon. We'll sit down at the kitchen table, open up that old chessboard, and play a match or two that usually stretches into the late afternoon. Whoever wins buys the coffee from the little cafe down the street, and the one who loses, well, they treat the winner to a scoop of that homemade vanilla bean ice cream from the corner creamery. Nobody's keeping score.
It's not about that.
It's about the laughs, the routine, and having something to look forward to that doesn't involve hospitals, TV reruns, or sitting in silence. And I'll tell you something, those little weekly rituals? They bring a kind of warmth that no electric blanket or heating pad can ever match. It's like getting a hug from life itself. Sixth, keep a hobby, or get one if you never had. A lot of folks, once they hit their 70s or 80s, feel like their days of learning or doing something new are behind them. And to that I say nonsense. Absolute poppycock. My neighbor, Ellen, she's 8 too, and just started learning French on an app. Says she wants to order croissants properly when she finally gets to Paris someday. Whether it's learning to paint, joining a gardening club, knitting, playing the ukulele, or baking sourdough bread, don't let your curiosity shrink with your wardrobe. My friend Martha, a retired librarian from Vermont, picked up woodworking in her garage. I kid you not, she made a rocking chair that would make any craftsman proud. Told me it keeps her hands busy and her thoughts calm. A hobby gives you a purpose, a reason to get up, get dressed, and get moving. And trust me, when you're older, a sense of purpose can feel as necessary as oxygen. 7. Keep up your appearance. Listen, I know some people say, "Oh, what's the point? Who am I trying to impress at this age?" But let me tell you, keeping yourself groomed, dressed decently, and maybe even spritzing on a little perfume or cologne isn't about impressing anyone else. It's about showing up for yourself. When you look good, you feel good. And when you feel good, the whole world seems a bit more manageable. Diane, who lives 2 blocks down from me, still gets her hair done every Friday morning. Rain, snow, or heat wave, she's there. Says she's doing it for her own mirror, not anybody else. And honestly, she walks straighter and talks brighter than folks 30 years younger. Confidence is contagious. 8. Don't isolate yourself, even if you live alone. Now, this one's important. Living alone doesn't have to mean feeling lonely, but you've got to be proactive about connection. Join the local community center. Go to church or synagogue or that meditation group at the library. Attend free lectures, get to know your neighbors, volunteer at the animal shelter, or just call an old friend and say, "Hey, I was thinking of you. Want to grab a coffee?" Because the truth is, the later years of life are like the late chapters of a really long book. You want them to be full of meaning, not just empty pages. It's easy to fall into routines that shrink our world down to a couch and a remote. But it takes just a little push, one step out the door, to open it back up again. As my old high school teacher, Mr. Campbell, once told me when I was young and stubborn, if you want light, you gotta open the window. So, in closing, aging isn't the end. It's another season, one with its own kind of rhythm and richness. Sure, the wheel of life slows down. Sure, the faces around the table might change. But that doesn't mean you stop setting the table altogether. You just cook smaller meals, light the candles anyway, and savor every bite. And if you find yourself the only one left at that table someday, remember, you're not really alone. You've still got you. And that's enough to build a whole new kind of life around.